Hi, welcome to Sustainability 1.4. This is just an introduction to the beginning of sustainability. There's some really important vocabulary we need to go over. Um, so, first of all, sustainability is this important theme that we're going to be looking at throughout the course. Are we using resources sustainably? And what sustainability means, it's the use and management of resources that allows their full natural replacement of everything that's exploited, and they can recover, like the ecosystems and the surrounding the natural environment can recover completely after we use or extract them. That's a lot of words for one concept. So essentially what it means, if you're going to use a resource, you can only use it as fast as it can be replenished or replaced. So if you're going to cut down trees in a forest, then you can't cut them all down so there's none left. That would not be sustainable. You can take a few, and as other ones grow back, to replace the ones that you cut, as long as you're doing it at a pace that all of those trees that you cut down can grow back in the time frame and how quickly that you're cutting them down. That would be replacement of those resources. The other thing that you have to consider is not just the replacement of that single resource, but all of the other things that are important in the ecosystem that have been affected by that extraction of the resource. So you can't go in and cut down trees and just think about them replacing themselves. You have to think about the wildlife and the water and other things that might be affected by that exploitation of the resource. So when you go in to cut down the trees, you need to do it in a way that you're doing it slowly enough over time and not taking too many that the ecosystem also can't recover. Okay. And of course, using any resource faster than it can regenerate is absolutely unsustainable. All right. So as I said, it's really important you have a handle on the concept of sustainability. Now let's look at a couple other important terms that are part of sustainability. You're going to hear this term natural capital quite a lot, and that's kind of used interchangeably with resource. So natural capital is essentially the natural resources that we have that are available to us. And our natural capital, if we use it sustainably, those things that we can get out of our natural capital is what we call natural income of goods and services. I'll give you an example here in a second. But just realize that your natural income, what you're taking from your natural resources, like if your natural resource is a lake, if the natural income that you're taking is fish, it can only be considered natural income if you're using those fish sustainably and let them, repopulate the lake at a regular basis. So you're not going to deplete their population. If you're not using it sustainably, then it's not considered natural income. You're just exploiting your resources unsustainably at that point. Okay, so natural capital is a resource, and you can get natural income from your natural capital if you're using it sustainably. And natural income can be put into a couple categories. One is goods, like marketable commodities, like timber, grain, fish, if you're selling it at the market, right? Fish you're going to eat, reeds to build your house, whatever. And services. So services, though, are things that you might not always think of that come out of that natural capital, but it's like life supporting services like the air that we breathe, or pollution management, or the roots of trees holding the soil from eroding into the river. So those are important services provided by our natural income of the forest. The river, right, could be part of the natural income of a river is that you can use it for transportation. So, so that's a service that's provided by the river, or the goods might be the fish in it or the, wildlife. Okay. So let's look at the example of Devokasharka, which is just outside our door, right? So that is an example of natural capital. And then the natural income, of course, might include timber, reeds, grasses. I think a lot of people probably are out mushrooming right now, grass for grazing, water from the streams, all of the things in the Devokasharka that are things that we could take and use either for our own use or sell them for money. So those are our goods. And of course, the services, air and noise pollution, when you're in the middle of that, the air is cleaner. You can't hear the roads as much, right? It provides oxygen, the trees, right, and the plants, flood erosion and protection, a place where we can enjoy and be out in nature, right? These are all the services that it provides. So a question that I'm asking you for this assignment to do is to answer the question, are we using the forest sustainably? So I want you to hit pause and take a minute and reflect on that. Are we using the Devokasharka sustainably? And if not, why? What are we doing for it to not be used sustainably? Okay. And here's another one that I want you to do after you're done with that is I want you to give examples of natural income for the VLTAVA, both goods and services. And I want you to explain, are we using it sustainably? And then justify your answer for that one as well. And then when you come back, we're going to look at types of resources. So here we are. Welcome back from writing those down. And resources can be categorized, or our natural capital can be kind of categorized into three main types of resources. Renewable, which is ones that are living organisms, right? They can be replaced. Mushrooms, trees, fish, you name it. And replenishable is a term you might hear. You're not required to know this one. It's other ones that can be replaced, but it's not actually living organisms. We tend to use renewable for both renewable and replenishable resources, and it's okay if you do that too. So water can be a renewable resource as long as it's able to replenish it. If you pull up like all the water out of a well or an aquifer, if you drain that out, then it wouldn't be considered renewable because you can use them unsustainably, right? But there is water can come back through rain and other things if we're using it sustainably. So renewable is anything generally it's living organisms. Replenishable can be renewed, but it's the power of the sun that allows the renewal of it, like solar energy, right? But it's okay if you talk about these replenishable ones as renewable resources in this course. And then lastly is non-renewable resources, and those are ones that can't be renewed. Fossil fuels, minerals for mining, when you're pulling out lithium or nickel or other things like that, none of that can be renewable. So essentially you cannot use any of those sustainably. It's impossible to use non-renewable resources sustainably. Once they're out, metals, things like aluminum can be recycled pretty well. But again, it's not a sustainable use if you're mining it. And so you should be able to categorize resources as renewable or non-renewable based on, if it's fossil fuels and minerals and things that can't be replaced. Okay. And in the next bit, you're going to be watching a video on tragedy of the commons, and you are going to need to be able to comment on that, but I'm going to let the video explain it to you better.